Your brain isn't broken. It's just been trained extremely well by things that were never designed with your discipline in mind. Notice what just happened. The moment it was in reach, it stopped being interesting. That's not an accident. That's the entire mechanism. And once you understand it, discipline stops being a willpower problem. Here's the plan. 3 things about how this actually works, most of which get explained wrong, and then 5 specific resets you can start today. Stick around for reset 5. It's the one nobody puts first, and it's the actual reason the other 4 either work long-term or quietly stop working after a week. Here's the first thing almost everyone gets backwards. Dopamine was never really the chemical of pleasure. Researchers who study reward and motivation call it the chemical of wanting. It fires hardest during the chase, not the arrival. The second you actually get the thing, the like, the snack, the notification, the signal that made you want it drops off almost immediately. Your brain doesn't linger on arrival. It's already scanning for the next thing to want. That's not a malfunction. It's an ancient system built to keep you searching for food, safety, and connection. The problem is what happens when that system meets something designed to trigger it every few seconds. Second thing, a reward you can predict stops being interesting fast. A reward that's unpredictable, sometimes good, sometimes nothing, barely fades at all. That's not a phone app trick. It's one of the oldest, most reliable findings in behavioral psychology. That's the actual difference between your phone and a book. It's not that one is bad and one is good. It's that one of them was tuned, deliberately, to be unpredictable, because unpredictable is what keeps that ancient wanting system firing. None of this means you're weak-willed. It means you're a normal brain responding exactly the way a normal brain responds to something engineered to be irresistible. That distinction matters for what comes next. So here's the part almost every video on this topic gets wrong. You can't flush dopamine out of your system like a toxin. There's nothing to detox. What you're actually resetting is sensitivity, how loudly your brain has to shout to get your attention. Constant, unpredictable, high-intensity input turns that sensitivity dial all the way up, so it takes more and more to register as interesting, which is exactly why a book, a walk, or a quiet room can start to feel unbearably boring. Not because they became boring, because your dial got turned up too far to notice them. The actual fix was never eliminating dopamine. It was turning that dial back down, deliberately, until ordinary things register as rewarding again. That's what the next 5 minutes are actually about. Reset 1. Delay the first hit. Whatever you'd normally reach for within the first few minutes of waking up, wait. Even 30 minutes resets the baseline more than people expect. The very first input your brain gets in a day quietly sets the tone for how loud everything after it needs to be. Start loud, and everything else has to compete with that. Reset 1 done. Reset 2 isn't about doing more. It's about doing dramatically less at the same time. Reset 2, one input at a time. Not 5 browser tabs, a podcast, and a notification badge all fighting for the same attention system. Every switch has a cost that doesn't show up until later, a residue of attention left behind on the thing you just left. Do that enough times in a row and nothing gets your full signal anymore. Reset 2 done. Reset 3 stops fighting the wanting system and starts using it on purpose. Reset 3, earn the scroll. Pair the high dopamine thing behind a small piece of the boring thing you've been avoiding. Not as punishment, as leverage. You're not trying to eliminate the reward. That never lasts long anyway. You're relocating it to the other side of something useful, so the wanting system starts working for you instead of against. Reset 3 done. Reset 4 is the one most people skip, because it's the most uncomfortable. Reset 4. Schedule boredom, on purpose. 10 minutes, once a day, doing absolutely nothing. No input at all. This isn't a new idea. Long before screens existed, some of the Stoic writers deliberately practiced going without comfort or stimulation on purpose, specifically to stay unbothered when comfort wasn't available. It's the same mechanism, just older. Reset 4 done. Last one. And it's the one that actually matters most. Reset 5. Guard your baseline, not your willpower. Willpower is a finite resource you spend down every day. Your baseline, how sensitive that dial is sitting, is what determines how much willpower everything else even costs. This is what I meant earlier. The other 4 resets work, but only as long as you protect this 5th one. Skip it, let the dial creep back up, and the first 4 quietly stop working within a week, the same way they always have before. That's all 5. Not a willpower problem anymore. A dial you actually have some control over. Here's why this actually sticks, when most people's attempt at this doesn't. You already know this mechanism from somewhere else. Walk into a dark room, and your eyes adjust. Everything looks bright and painful for a few seconds. Then it settles, and you can suddenly see details you couldn't before. Turning your sensitivity dial back down works exactly the same way. The first few boring days feel unbearable. That feeling is the adjustment, not a sign it isn't working. Give it a few genuinely uncomfortable days. Your dial adjusts the same way your eyes do. And once it does, an ordinary afternoon starts to feel like enough again. Quick recap. All 5, back to back. And 5, guard your baseline. That's the one that makes the other 4 last. This is what turning that dial back down actually gives back. Not less pleasure. More of it, from things that were quietly good the whole time. You were never broken, and you never needed less dopamine. You just needed a dial that wasn't stuck all the way up. Save this. Pick one reset, just one, and start with it tomorrow morning. That's the whole dial.